I got you now, you pathetic excuse for a furry. That's what he says, alright, in British accent. Tastes like chocolate. This scene is very fan-servicey. I'm not going to get into it. I think we should rush them, Zach says. And Tyre comes into a halt. And MC screams, charge. He's got a little avocado kissing here. I don't know what that's about. Welcome to our second annual one-shot comic jam. Last year, we did a romance-centered comic jam, which was mainly about Valentine's Day. I have a Discord called Weekly Art Jams. I basically host events like this where we do like comic jams annually. So if you like to be a part of the community where we make comics or draw art together every Sunday and stuff like that, feel free to join with the link in the description. All right, Team A. We got Hobbish, Chainsaw, and Skits on this team. The title of their comic is called Cooked. In a kitchen where good and evil clashes, one dish will lead to tragic consequences. We got a little devil cat in the suit cooking something sinister. We see a leg coming in, and then he looks over to see Gordon Ramsay, based on his name, initials. He says, in a British accent, these people are sabotaging me, setting me up for failure. They want me to speak in this British accent. Step away from the stove, you muppet. He's like an angel, he got wings and shit. Devil Cat says, you shouldn't have come back here. You have no power here. He trolls something. Gordon Ramsay manages to slice that hand away, manages to defend himself. It's pretty cool pose here. You may have bested me last time, but you'll never win this war, you anemic lambshank. Is that truly a word that he said? They come into like a clash. Devil Cat, holding his knife, pounces on him, but Gordon Ramsay sees it. Gordon Ramsay flips something and just at the last moment manages to catch the knife before going into his eye socket. Okay, this is pretty cool. And lo and behold, it's a spatula. Gordon Ramsay goes back in with the spatula and hits Devil Cat in the stomach. Like, it's a powerful hit, y'all. Gordon Ramsay goes Super Saiyan, okay? And, well, I thought Devil Cat died here, but he got a little devil soul coming out. But yeah, Gordon Ramsay became super buff here. Devil Cat, however, is not dead. He does a 180 jump and lands on his feet because cats always land on their feet. I got you now, you pathetic excuse for a furry. That's what he says, alright, in British accent. Devil Cat smiles and goes into manic laughing mode. What's so funny, he says, you wrinkled old sack of shit, he says. I was stalling your dumbass all this time. And then he points to something that says override add chocolate. What does that even mean? He says, you already lost. The button blinks and we finally come to Gordon Ramsay saying, no, F you, boya. There you go, everybody. This comic, this whole character fighting the orange cat name is Boya. So for context, for new viewers joining, let me just explain real quick. Boya is a cat on our Discord server. Not actually a cat, but just a person who has a cat profile picture. We cut to a girl. This is, by the way, for those of you, also another context is this is Boya's OC. This is what Boya draws herself to look like. Boya says, time to post this on Discord and win best chef. Da, da, da. We got a little fish, we got some rice. But first, she laughs sinisterly and adds chocolate sauce on it. Oh god, guys. There's a lot to unpack here. First of all, let me give another context on chocolate sauce fish. Boya is a very sinister Discord member that got food channel removed for a bit because she kept posting really bad food dishes. And one of her, her infamous dishes that she posted was chocolate sauce on fish, which apparently is a Filipino thing. Boya says, now time to post. And then we get a little zoom in on the Discord channel's food channel, right? The disgusting fish chocolate covered sauce. We got Chainsaw messaging why. Hobbish saying, I think I threw up a little. Skid saying, sigh, I need to hug my kangaroo. Render God saying, I play Sims. Basil saying, I like mint ice cream, I try it. And me, not me, saying, you are banned. And lo and behold, your account has been banned for life, never come back. And we see finally a sad little boy in the corner with the little fish. When I first saw the comic, I was like, my jaw dropped. This group of people did not just make a whole comic based on this one Discord member. I want to thank Chainsaw, apparently was on the storyboard and effects, Skits on character design and line art, and Hobbish on script and colors. What an amazing read, right? Furry Gordon before GTA 6, I agree. I'm with the orange, I smell slander, and apparently it is you, Boya. All because I like Champorado. Sin hopped on the stream real quick and gifted 10 yuuning memberships. The stream is now sponsored by Sin. Thank you very much. This is for you. Judging face. Let's go, everybody. Let's talk about the thumbnail real quick. I think the colors are really eye-catching, you know? The poses and the composition and everything is just chef's kiss. Now we're gonna move on to the art. One of my nitpicks is this hand throwing thing. It just looks a little awkward when he's throwing his hand. You can do a little step one and a step two to throw. I think it would be better. Great effect visuals, like all the motion lines and everything I thought were great. Definitely a chainsaw's touch. Let's move on to story. This comic has very many layers. It's like a damn little onion. It has so many layers of jokes. It's like all inside jokes of like Discord, right? As a standalone comic without all the context, it works. It just might be a bit confusing for newcomers who don't know all the inside jokes. I love the Discord input for context at the very end. You showed that this is all based on the goddamn Discord. We got the food channel and we got all these members. Out of all the comics I've seen, the paneling here is much more dynamic. You got like different types of cuts. You know, it's not all just square boxes. And like I said, the near to far shots are really a nice touch. The SFX lettering, the pant, you know, the hee hee ha ha mwahaha type letterings are awesome as well. If your comic is silent without any SFX for an action comic, you know there's something wrong. You got both genres nailed down pretty well, action comedy. Unfortunately, you only get a 5% Discord joke bonus here, but they really went the extra mile for like a non-existent 6%, but I can only cap it to you guys at 5%. Very solid fighting scenes, and you even got to learn a bit about Filipino culture where they actually put chocolate on their fish, so I'd say it's very edutaining, as they call it. Team B, Basil, Nico, Della, and Tautlo. It's called Mismatched. Once upon a time, there was 2 sentient lizards, a warm-blooded robot, a robot, and a clown with a plush armadillo. Wait, who wrote this? A bunch of outlaws have been assigned to rob a train. One thing happens after the other, and this very incompatible group of people are stuck together till death do them part. Of course, serving felony laws. Alright, this is the first panel. We see a desert canyon area, and then we see 2 lizards flying on top of the train. This is it, little bro, one of them says. The score is ours, and ta-da! We get a little intro of the lizard siblings, face card, cold-blooded carnivores, alright? I ain't little no more, quit calling me Lil. I mean, come on, isn't that just the coolest character card you've ever seen? Whatever, get to lasering, we ain't got all day. They're lasering the top of the train roof, and then We move on to a panel that says, "Tickets, please. Thank you, sir. Have a pleasant trip." And I like these little characters in the background. This is, I think, Jess and Chainsaw and Skits from Discord. And then someone approaches the robot and says, "Excuse me, fellow robot, I think I'm just gonna call him Bucket. It is good to see so many robot brothers and sisters aboard this train. Well, yes, this is a robots-only locomotive. We see a girl trying to reach for something. Please return to your seats. But wait, Bucket has a question for you." She almost loses it. "Yes? Can Bucket have your number?" My number?" he says as he blushes and flirts. And then the girl finally manages to steal the card, and then she looks back, she scans on something, bleeps, and "Whoo, doggy," she says. Look at this. First of all, guys, let's marvel at this scene real quick. If you are on Discord, you know what half of these are, okay? There's so many nice little Easter eggs here, and honestly, I will very willingly give you my 5 marks. We really hit the jackpot today, she says. Score like this comes once in a lifetime. We get another character card, and her name is Victoria, the coolest cyborg outlaw, self-proclaimed, of course. We move into a little transition to someone singing on the train tracks. We got a little clown and the armadillo. We transition, I think, back to the train scene, and then she looks back to say, "Well, look who decided to show up. What took you so long?" He kept flirting. Bucket had to play along. Bucket, also known as the bot with the plot. Wick's partner in crime, Victoria's partner in crime, raised by humans and loves buttons. That's all you gotta know. "Oh shoot," she says, as the roof is getting destroyed. We see, "Who do you suppose that is?" And a crash. It's the lizard gang, lizard siblings. "Aw, hell, get out of here. We were here first, you scaly varmints." And then brother says, "I've always wanted to try robot meat." Bucket is like, "Excuse me? Bucket does not have meat." Robo snack, tastes like chocolate. This scene is very fancy. I'm not going to get into it. "Dang nabbit, leave my partner alone. He's just a baby." And a delicious one at that, I tell you. We transition back to, I think, the clown. "Are you ready, mon ami?" she says. And with the button in her hand, she says, "Time for the fun part." And we get another character card called Emily. Ran away from the circus, terrible luck, loves explosive. There you go. Emily the clown. She puts TNT all over the train track, and then kabooms, she destroys the train track. Boom, pop goes the weasel, and the train falls to its demise. "Sacre bleu," she says. "I miscalculated the force of the explosion. Pardon-moi." The lizard siblings managed to get out. They say, "We better skedaddle," while the other two held on to the girl lizard. "Hey, what do you think you're doing?" she says. "We're hitching a ride." And boom, the train is demolished. "My precious score," Victoria screams. "This is all your fault. Go down there and fetch my goat, you slimy heathen." Heathen? Who do you think you are, bossing me around? We got a little, whoa, they're about to fight, y'all. They're about to fight. And then we cut back to Emily getting caught by the lizard brother. I think we found the real culprit here. And Bucket found a new button. "Put that down, you teen buffoon. That's incriminating evidence." And then whip. Got a little lasso whip. And they all got hogtied together. Okay? Darn it, what in tarnation? Bucket senses danger. End of the line, bandits. It's time to face justice. And there you go, everybody. The sheriff, the final boss, manages to catch all of them, and they all got booked. We got a little nice title card, mismatch, finale. Team B, again, great job on the comic. Talt, Lo, Nico, Basil, Della. Thank you very much for the comic, that was great. Pregnant Moana and Boya screamed Yuri. We were about to fight and they're about to flirt. But so far, paneling wise, art style, the color palettes are chef's kiss. Hear me out on that, bro. Lisa. Boya, you gotta calm down, Boya. Now, I'm about to go into the judging phase. Let's talk about the thumbnail real quick. Now, this was their thumbnail. I feel like there's a lot of characters in this thumbnail. I like that the money sign is the focus. That's great. It really tells you what it's about. Maybe if you made Victoria, who I think is the main character in your comic, the only person in the thumbnail, maybe carrying the money bag or something like that, I think it will be better just for other people to be able to focus on the art and just deciding if they want to read your comic based on Victoria being the cowboy and the money bag. Otherwise, great thumbnail, just nitpicky on the low focusing. Honestly, I found no big issues about the art. I kept looking for any issues, but it's honestly quite perfect as it is. I wouldn't change a thing. Also, just props to adding this little grainy effect. It really adds a nice touch to this old west vibes. It's amazing how well rendered everything is, because you guys only had like a month, so really big props to the artists for going the extra mile with the rendering and shit. And the backgrounds, I know probably the backgrounds, I don't know if they use 3D assets, but it's all so great. Like, it fits in well with the characters and the world building. Like I said, the treasure room was my favorite. I think it's just full of little details, and it's just such a good eye for detail, and the way you place these things are not awkward at all. If anything, you know, the people who spot it are gonna be like, what the fuck, what is pregnant Moana doing here, right? Now, let's talk about the story. I think it's really great as a pilot episode for an ongoing series of a bunch of outlaws, but as a standalone one-shot comic, I gotta say, maybe it felt a little bit anticlimactic towards the ending. I just wish we could have seen more of the sheriff. Maybe we could have seen at least a close-up shot of him grinning, you know? Because he only gets like one far shot panel and we don't really like, you know, get to see more of him. So that's why as like a standalone one-shot comic where it's like you're watching a 30-minute movie and then you cannot anticipate if there's like a sequel and whatnot. The ending lacks a little bit. As a pilot start-off episode for like new sequels and whatnot, it's awesome, it's great. And I like that most of the characters here, I think, are based on their OCs. I think it's based on the team's OC. I was expecting a huge fighting scene. I don't know why. I just came into the comic reading everything and I was like, oh my god, there's gonna be a huge fighting scene between the lizard and Victoria and the gang and whatnot, and just maybe Emily in the background causing chaos and running away or whatever. But we never got to that fighting scene. They end up getting captured and stuff like that. Like, especially after this panel, right? How can you not anticipate a fighting scene? I was just a tiny little bit disappointed. Overall, it's not a huge detriment to the story. I think it's just a setup for something that didn't happen that made me a little bit disappointed, and that's the most nitpicky I can be about the story. Let me talk about the lettering and paneling. Probably out of all the comic, I think this one has the neatest font and the nicest speech bubbles. Even when the characters talk, like Bucket has his own little speech bubbles. I like that he got a little square bubble instead of the circle one like all the other normal people. And I like that when Emily is singing to herself, you added like this little sound notes, like such nice detail touch. Like, look at this crash font. These are so custom and nice. And even the character card fonts, I think is really cool. Like, if you take a picture of this, it could be a whole drawing. Like, you can post on Instagram as itself. With paneling, there were these long white transition scenes between Emily. Like, see, you got this Victoria character card, and then you got like this giant void of whiteness to transition to Emily. I think what I would have done here is I would transition a shot looking out of the train. After Emily, we see her singing, there's a huge white void, and then we go back to Victoria's scene. I think you can do another transition shot where it's maybe you're looking into the train window and you're seeing the characters there. Just little transition panels like this really matter in the story instead of just leaving it white, because sometimes when I see a huge white, I think, is my comic not loading? You know, I know you're trying to create space for the transition, but it's just better to add a small little panel, little background panel if you can. I think this is definitely a great action comedy. The only points that I mentioned were like the stories and the panelings that I think you could improve on. I like all the Discord Easter eggs, am I right? Art is so delicious. I even smashed the text. God, boy, you gotta get a hold of yourself. Must have been the panel limit, I agree. These guys, everyone has a 35 panel limit, so maybe it's because of that they had to take out some transition shots, but I thought it's still a great comic regardless. Everyone joined this comic jam not really having a reward, okay? I did not impose a reward system, thus I feel a little bad now because y'all tried really hard. All right, Team C. We got Zach, Goff, Axley on Team C, and their comic is called Apocalypse in Judgment. Finally, it has happened. The zombie apocalypse has finally arrived. We've been preparing this for ages. Surely nothing will go wrong, right? I love the title. I love how you play with the words and stuff. It's awesome. Now, the first scene is this nice little drawing, very colorful, very goth coloring style, okay? And we got a little suburban area. On live TV news, in recent news, zombie sighted, this man says. And in other news, there have been mysterious zombie sightings in the downtown area. Witnesses have described and then thunk a mug to cut off that dialogue. Finally, this is our moment, X. This is going to be awesome. And then comes in another character saying, hey, what's with all the noise? It's 6 a.m. for goodness sakes. You hear the doink, crash, bang. There's no time to sleep. Get down here to help us prepare. You can see Axe working on a little bat, nail bat in the background. What is it this time? Zombies sighted at the mall. It's the end of times, but we are not going out without a fight. So, like last time, the astronaut says. What? I have no idea what you're talking about. And the astronaut just sort of has this little thinking bubble, thinking back to AI takeover live news, the mug smashing again, them getting prepared to only come to the park with a little Roomba, but not even like with a knife or anything. MC comes in with like, it's not like last time, they have video proof. And we're going to scope out the mall to find their weakness. X, prep the truck. Zach, do you want to do the weapons or the armor? Zach, the astronaut, is like, I think I'll take a nap. Wake me up when the world ends. Honestly, I can relate to Zach here the most. MC is like, more for me. They prep for everything. They even got a goddamn Tesla Cybertruck. And then look at that. They're all armed, ready to go. Let's do this. They arrive at the mall. Zach, wake up, look. And if you guys really zoom in on this, I think this is Boya, Della, Chainsaw, Skids, and I don't know who this is, but yeah, they're like little Discord characters in there. I think we should rush them, Zach says. And Tyre comes into a halt, and MC screams, charge. The zombies are like, huh? And we get this cool action panel where MC goes in for it and then whacks. What the hell? This wasn't in the script. Script? Zach says, cut, cut. Who the hell are these people? Screams the director, also known as Tahir. Get the hell off my set. And someone screams, oh my god, is that Della's arm? Someone call the police. And back to the car now. They try to run away from it. They killed Jess. Get him. Why would they do such a thing? Does anyone have a spare kneecap? I can't feel my liver, and so on and so on. Finally, we get back to their house. And Zach says, I think we're criminals now. To be continued, guys. To be continued. Zach on writing. We got storyboard and artist, which is Axe, also known as Acceptable Sleep. And we got line and color on Visido 4, also known as Goth. What did you guys think of that comic? Oh my god, the color palette is so cute. I love the punny title. I agree. Delicious coloring from Goth as usual. Yes. Let's look at the thumbnail real quick. I think we can all agree that Goth has a really cool, cute coloring and art style. Art-wise, on the thumbnail, I think people will definitely love to click on this thumbnail because it's just so colorful and it's definitely gonna stand out. But a little nitpicky is that otherwise, with the three of them and the title, it doesn't really tell me what is it about. Maybe you can argue and say apocalypse is like, oh, it's gonna be about apocalypse. But what kind of apocalypse? You know, we don't know that. So my only suggestion for the thumbnail is to maybe add a couple of zombies in the background, some blood in the background, just to make it more, you know, dystopian, more apocalyptic and stuff like that, rather than just a solid white background. Let's talk about the art real quick. Great first page visuals. It's a great showcase of your colors, okay? Although I'm not sure what the flowers here mean. Maybe it's just like a little aesthetic decision. I really like the expressions for everyone. I know you're going for like a little chibi style. And yeah, with chibi characters, you want to make it expressive. And I think you did a good job doing all of it. I think you've made really great character representations to your OC. The chemistry between the characters really balance out well. Just want to remind you all that Goth's name was never mentioned in this comic, so I could only refer to Goth as MC. Although it only has one action panel, I still think the setup for the action is really nice. Definitely they're going for more of a comedy than action genre. The setup for it all is still great, like them just prepping for the apocalypse and prepping the truck and everything. Sometimes with action comics, the most important thing is setting up that fight to be super epic, like all the expectations for the fight and stuff like that. And I like that at the very end, the fight just becomes them killing random actors. Story-wise, I thought the ending joke punchline ended really well. You guys definitely set up the comic storyboarder really well. Who doesn't like heroes to criminal arc, right? The little subtle Discord member mentions like Tahir and Jess being the zombies. I will happily give you the 5% Discord marks here for the bonus. Lettering, for me, it was easy to read. I think maybe I wouldn't choose these fonts for like the bang and the crash and the spring. Maybe I would have gone with like a bold font. It's just these fonts kind of fade into, because they're so thin, I just feel like they fade into the background a little. I would even take out like the spark chat speech bubbles, you know. The first time I read this comic, I got a little confused about this panel because I know they're supposedly prepping in the background, but I wasn't really sure what they were doing. And then you got Zach kind of thinking here. I would have preferred for this transition, it's just centered on Zach doing a thinking pose, doing the flashback basically. You can even add a little flashback if you want. And overall, like I said, it's also really just nice short comic, standalone one-shot comic, or a continuous series of comics for these characters. And who doesn't like colorful zombie apocalypse, right? I think you guys got a great idea here for like sequels and stuff like that. A lot of these comics here have great potential for spin-offs of their own series. But yeah, otherwise that's it. That's all I have for Team C. Now, let's go through the final comic. Excitement is an understatement. We got Team D, final. Zil, Toya, and Val Arts for Team D, and their comic is called Wings. An enthusiastic chef and her pet chicken struggle to survive the zombie apocalypse, determined not to become the next Mew themselves. First panel, we see a lot of girl and growls. We see this really epic abandoned city, and you got a little zombie skeleton sitting on the chimney. I don't know how he's balancing himself there, But this is a great first panel, and you got like a bunch of zombies here. They're gurgling and growling. You see an arm reaching in the door, and someone shuts it off, but the arm falls down inside. We see a chef character. Who left the door open, she says. She's like super angry about it. Oh right, it was me, she says. So she's a bit delulu, okay? And then we see all these very pretty like drawn ingredients. You got a little avocado kissing here. I don't know what that's about. I think she's dreaming here about the ingredients while she has a hand with a pot and a hand on a brain. Okay? And we get a little introduction. Her name is Goldie Ramsay. We're a little nod to Team A as well with the little Gordon Ramsay furry character. The best and only cook on Earth. So she is the last chef on Earth, Goldie Ramsay. Do you think zombie brains have lots of nutrients in them, she thinks. And then, she drops something after she cooks the thing. She drops this little, slime thing. I don't know what that is. And then it scares a chicken. The chicken goes on and eats it, but it's like, the fuck, you know? Oh, wings, she says. Only you understand the value of good seasoning, she laughs in this panel. And I don't know why this rat is so thick here, and you got a little zombie looking in, you got like a jar of ice, it's cute. What should we cook next, Wings? Goldie says. As the background becomes more severe, you got zombies trying to reach in, growling, and you, for whatever reason, you got a zombie in the tank, okay? Calm down, you guys. There's enough for everyone, she laughs. And then Wings, why are you on my ingredient box? She says. Now you're making me crave some chicken wings. So look at her eyes. She's like looking at Wings. Wings is disappointed at her. And we get a couple of shots of a fried chicken transition to her saying, what am I thinking about? I could never eat you, Wings. Now, the hand that was shut off from the beginning reaches for the door latch, clicks the door latch, and she says, I should have chopped that hand into little pieces. And lo and behold, the freaking zombies come rushing in, and then here you. Context, you is my name. Watch the chicken. So things are about to get dangerous. I will try to save us. If I can't take Wings and run, and then we go into this huge fighting scene, she's got like a fork on one of the zombies' eyes as she tries to reach for her frying pan, and then she smacks the shit out of the other zombie with another hand on a knife. She does a little 180, but there's just too many of them, like she's overwhelmed. She goes insane. She says, I hate this so much. Well, the zombie hand gives us the middle finger. She screams and Wings is flying. She says, Wings, you can fly? And she's about to get mobbed, okay? Fly away, my angel, she says. And don't let them catch you, as Wings tries to transition out through the window. Or else they will turn you into chicken nuggets. And there you guys go. That's it for Team D's comic. We got this insane looking title card, very pretty. And yeah, credits where credit is due. Sue, Val Arts, Toya, and even Boya actually. Boya, thank you very much. Boya was a little special guest in this comic. She helped a bit with the colorings. I would never in the million years, when I first saw the thumbnail and the title, I would never in a million years think of a comic like this. But it's so creative, y'all. The kissing avocados, I love the MC. It's yuuning zombie for real. Don't eat Wings. I was starting to think Wings doesn't survive for long, right? We all thought the chicken was gonna die, but ended up being the main character. I think that's a real nice plot twist. Let's talk about the thumbnail. First of all, it's very cute. From the thumbnail I saw, because she's holding a chef's hat, and she's wearing this like chef thing. You got like a chicken in the background. I thought it was gonna be just about cooking. With the title being Wings, I couldn't really see or tell what the comic was going to be about. And I think if the thumbnail is just maybe the chef holding a frying pan, carrying a chicken, running away from a zombie hand or whatever, I think that would have been a better thumbnail. At least you'll be able to see the main characters and also the zombies in the background, so they can kind of understand, oh, there's gonna be zombies and stuff like that. Let's talk about art. Although this comic wasn't rendered, it's mostly just lines and flat colors. I really just like the little style you have with the line arts and stuff. Dystopian city from the beginning, like, is this not cool, right? How cool is this with the style and everything? And the messiness of it all is really it's a nice style choice for this comic because it's the zombie apocalypse. Like, it's chaotic, it's messy, you know? But I got a little confused at one of the panel. I wasn't understanding what was going on. I know it's super chaotic. Like, this is a long panel here where she's getting bitten, I think, but you got these long bodies that go nowhere and wings trying to fly away, and then you got like just her suddenly on the ground. I feel like if you chop this panel up, the transitions would make more sense. There's also this part where she is doing the 180 flip with like the pan and stuff. I think you could just separate it. It would look less awkward. If you separate this as her smashing a pot in one zombie's face and shivving the other zombie's face into two separate panels, I think it would look a lot better. The arm holding the pot lid is a bit awkward. Otherwise, great expressions. I think you did really well with like the food here, you know, it's really colorful. And then we get like all the little zombies that have like, these zombies look like they have their own personalities, even though they're just NPCs. You got this one just holding a freaking book. Let's move on to the story. At first, when I read the comic for the first time, I wasn't sure how the beginning was gonna tie it back to the title. You guys managed to do it, and I love it. I love that it's all ties back to the chicken flying away, basically. As a standalone comic, it works as well. We get a little introduction. Well, sadly, Goldie dies, but we get a little introduction of the chicken. But I can see this having a sequel, spin-off comic, where the chicken meets other people, other survivors in the zombie apocalypse. You know, how cool is that, right? Now, let's move on to lettering and paneling. If you add like a little cloud speech bubble, would have made more sense, because otherwise I think I got a little confused what she was having flashbacks, or is she dreaming, or if you just do like a half body shot pose of her holding a brain in one hand and her thinking about all the food that she can cook and stuff like that, I think it would have been suffice without the pots and stuff in the background. There were a couple of SFX lettering missing. You know, you got this little SFX here, like click and grr and growl from the zombies, but in the fighting scenes, I felt they were missing. You could easily add a sound for this, her holding something and smacking them. Overall, I think you guys too did an amazing job. Like, for context, I guess, this team definitely went through a lot. They had 4 people coming into the competition in their team, and a few of them ended up becoming inactive towards the end of the comic, and at the very end also someone decided to resign from the team. So yeah, despite everything that happened, I thought you guys still managed to finish a solid comic. I think that is not easy, and I'm very proud of you guys for sticking true to the end. Taking that into consideration, it's a great short comic, and I'm sure if they had more time and have more help, I'm sure they would have made this a really, really insane comic. If I didn't give you guys the context of them with, you know, the teammates becoming inactive and resigning and stuff, you guys would have never known, right? I say this is one of the highlights of this comic, is that despite everything, you wouldn't have been able to tell if I had never said anything. Some action lines would have made it more clear, but I know they were pressed for time, and overall it looks good. I agree. Some action lines, motion lines would have definitely made it better too. I am now gonna start doing the member vote. bribing time, guys. I accept bribes, everyone. If you would like to join us for more events like this, feel free to join our Discord. Link is in the description. We're called Weekly Art Jam. Why I host events like this is because I'm also interested to see how people work together, you know, as a team like that. Definitely, just like all group projects, there are a lot of challenges working as a team. And I hope everyone that joined had a good time. Also, Sin, why can't I choose all too good? I agree. Why can't we all be winners, right? But no, I gotta feel that toxic competitiveness in these mofos, okay? These Discord members are freaking spoiled. We gotta humble them once in a while. I'm gonna end the poll. Team B mismatched with 40% of the votes. Congrats. You are the fan favorite. Based on the voting results, I think I can now move on to the winner announcement. Are you guys ready? Who the is gonna win? Guys, the winner for the 2025 Comic Jam One Shop is Team B. Congratulations, Team B. Congratulations for winning 2025 Comic Jam. Congrats, you guys. It was not easy choosing the winners because like you guys went through it with me, right? That was not easy to go through. Like everybody did so well, but you know, at the end of the day, there can only be one winner. And Team B, congratulations. Who do we got? We got Basil, okay, we got Nico, we got Della, we got Tablo. Mismatch comic is super, is great. Last year was a bit more low-key because it was my first time hosting this. And I was like thinking, wow, we got an additional team joining this year. Last year we had 3 teams, but this year we had 4 teams. Told myself I need to up the stakes this time because more people are joining. And well, I just hope you enjoyed the stream and I hope you enjoyed the hype for it all. We actually planned this all together on Discord for a whole month. You know, I would check back in with them every weekend on Sunday because we do art jams weekly. I think I'm gonna do a quick after party with Discord. For those of you on YouTube, I will see you guys on my next stream and I hope you had a great time watching. Goodbye.